Canada breaks apart, Alberta and Saskatchewan push to join the U.S. Welcome back to Canada Chronicles. Today we're diving into one of the most shocking developments shaking the country's unity. Canada's western provinces are challenging Ottawa like never before. Alberta is inching closer to a referendum that could redefine its place in the Federation, while Saskatchewan is asserting stronger control over its own resources and governance. Across the prairies, frustration over federal energy policies, carbon rules, and economic imbalance is boiling over. And it's raising a question few ever expected to hear. Could Canada actually fracture? In this video, we'll uncover what's really happening behind Alberta's independence movement, how it's testing the limits of the law, and why the federal government is suddenly on edge. Stay tuned until the end, because we'll reveal one of the boldest moves yet. Alberta's Border Patrol power grab, a development that could permanently change how provinces challenge federal authority. If you care about Canada's future, hit subscribe, tap the notification bell, and stay tuned. There's a lot to uncover. Let's get started. The Prairie provinces are rattling Canada's foundations. In Alberta, the idea of separation has shifted from fringe talk to structured action. Saskatchewan, while less vocal about U.S. statehood, is strengthening its autonomy and taking firmer control of its energy policy. Combined with years of resentment over federal regulation and perceived centralization in Ottawa, the sense of alienation across the West has deepened, and it's now driving serious political movements. Western grievances and the roots of discord. Many Albertans believe federal policies on climate, energy, and environmental regulation are crippling the industries that fuel their economy. They argue Ottawa's approach delays pipeline projects, hinders resource approvals, and imposes taxation formulas that overlook regional realities. Saskatchewan shares similar frustrations. In 2023, it passed the Saskatchewan First Act, affirming the province's authority over natural resources and challenging what it calls federal interference in regional decision-making. For many across the prairies, this isn't only about economics, it's about fairness. They see a federation that rewards central Canada while undervaluing the regions that produce its energy and food. That perception has become the emotional backbone of the separatist momentum. From talk to law, Alberta's path to a referendum. Alberta's movement has crossed from talk to tangible process. In 2025, the provincial government passed Bill 54, formerly known as the Election Statutes Amendment Act. This law reduced the signature threshold required for citizen-initiated referendums and extended the time frame for collecting them. The change allows grassroots campaigns to force province-wide votes on constitutional questions. Soon after, a citizen initiative petition was filed with Elections Alberta asking, "Do you agree that the province of Alberta shall become a sovereign country and cease to be a province of Canada?" The petition is now under constitutional review, and legal challenges are being argued before the Court of King's Bench. Meanwhile, another petition, titled Forever Canadian, has emerged in opposition. It asks Albertans whether the province should remain part of Canada. As of October 2025, that petition has gathered more than 230,000 of the nearly 294,000 signatures required to advance. Two movements, one pushing for separation and the other defending unity, are now racing toward the same legal finish line: constitutional and legal hurdles. Even if Alberta reaches a referendum, there is no simple path to independence or U.S. statehood. Under the Clarity Act, any vote on separation must have a clear question and a decisive majority before Parliament is even obliged to negotiate. A successful referendum would still trigger years of constitutional amendments, court rulings, and political battles. Parliament could refuse to recognize a unilateral declaration, and the Supreme Court of Canada would likely be called to define the limits of provincial authority. On the U.S. side, the Constitution requires congressional approval to add a new state. That means Alberta's so-called 51st state concept remains hypothetical at best. Economically, unraveling federal programs, pensions, and interprovincial trade would be enormously complex. The legal and logistical barriers make separation more of a political statement than a realistic short-term goal. Political chess moves and messaging. Provincial and federal leaders are playing a careful game. Premier Danielle Smith has stated that she doesn't personally support independence, but she promises to allow a referendum if citizen petitions meet the legal threshold. Her stance keeps separatist voters engaged while maintaining plausible deniability. She's warned that Ottawa's continued disregard for Alberta's energy interests could trigger a national unity crisis. At the federal level, Prime Minister Mark Carney is urging calm. His government has opened dialogue with provincial leaders, but has avoided rolling back federal environmental and taxation reforms. Meanwhile, the newly rebranded Republican Party of Alberta, formerly the Buffalo Party, is campaigning for an independence referendum, followed by a consultative vote on joining the United States. In this tense environment, political posturing has become a negotiating weapon, each move designed to extract concessions rather than ignite open separation. Public mood and polling reality. Polls show that only about 10% of Albertans favor joining the United States, while a larger share support more autonomy within Canada. Support for separation tends to rise when energy projects are blocked and fall when economic prospects improve. In recent by-elections, candidates aligned with separatist parties earned limited but noteworthy results, reaching nearly 18% in some rural ridings. Yet for most voters, the debate isn't about leaving Canada, it's about achieving respect and control within it. The independence movement remains loud, organized, and media-savvy, but not dominant. Its influence lies in how effectively it pressures Ottawa to respond. Economic and immigration implications. If Alberta were ever to pursue full independence or align itself with U.S. systems, the consequences would ripple across Canada. Alberta's economy is anchored by industries such as oil and gas extraction, construction, agriculture, and manufacturing, all of which rely heavily on temporary foreign workers and permanent residents. Any shift in jurisdiction could disrupt work permits, status renewals, and immigration pathways for thousands of employees and their families. Investment confidence would waver. Businesses would delay major projects involving energy, housing, and infrastructure until there's legal certainty. Cross-border trade might face tariffs and customs barriers, jeopardizing Alberta's export-driven economy. Even social programs could be destabilized. A break from Ottawa would mean the loss of equalization payments and federal transfers that help sustain healthcare and education. For residents, especially newcomers, the fear of losing stability could become a powerful deterrent to remaining in the province. These factors reveal that separatism isn't just symbolic, it carries real risks for jobs, investment, and community confidence. Alberta's Border Patrol power grab. Thanks for staying with us this far. We appreciate your time and hope you're finding this information valuable. One of the boldest and most controversial actions Alberta has taken is the creation of the Interdiction Patrol Team, a $29 million sheriff-led border enforcement unit designed to police Alberta's boundary with the United States. Announced in late 2024, this initiative funded 51 officers, drone surveillance, drug detection units, and mobile labs to monitor the 298-kilometer stretch along Montana. Within this 2-kilometer critical infrastructure zone, sheriffs can conduct arrests without prior federal warrants. The provincial government frames the move as a crackdown on smuggling and illegal crossings. Critics, however, view it as an overreach into a domain constitutionally reserved for the Canada Border Services Agency. 10 months into operations, the unit reported only a handful of arrests related to cross-border crimes. Yet the symbolism is unmistakable. Alberta has effectively built a miniature border force, a tangible sign of its sovereignty agenda. If a province can establish its own border patrol, could customs, immigration, or trade regulation be next? The Interdiction Patrol Team shows that Alberta's leaders are not just talking about independence, they're building the tools to act on it. Toward reconciliation. Can Canada avoid a break? Despite the rising tension, it's not too late to pull back from the edge. Both sides can pursue realistic solutions that strengthen Canada rather than divide it. First, Ottawa could adjust fiscal transfers, carbon pricing, and pipeline regulations to better reflect Western priorities. Second, federal leaders could develop a framework granting provinces greater authority over resource management, immigration retention programs, and regional development while keeping the federation intact. Courts must also clarify what provincial referendums can and cannot decide to ensure the process remains constitutional and fair. And meaningful public engagement, through town halls, open forums, and transparent cost analysis, can help rebuild trust. Finally, any new provincial initiatives like Alberta's Border Patrol must include oversight to prevent duplication and ensure alignment with federal law. If Prime Minister Carney, Premier Smith, and their counterparts in Saskatchewan commit to cooperation rather than confrontation, Canada could emerge stronger, more flexible, fair, and regionally balanced. The separatist conversation, instead of tearing the country apart, might become the catalyst for long overdue reform. Canada's unity has always faced challenges, but what's happening in Alberta and Saskatchewan marks a new turning point. This is no longer just about politics. It's about identity, frustration, and the future of the Federation itself. Whether this push for autonomy fades or reshapes the nation will depend on the choices made in the months ahead. If you found this video informative, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update from Canada Chronicles. Share your thoughts below. Do you think Alberta and Saskatchewan's push for change is justified, or could it divide the country even further? Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.